Really screwed up. Where's my music? Oh yes, it is time for another beautiful Draw Juice Universe exceptional art tutorial lesson conversation explosive powerful whatever. I lost my train of thought. Welcome. How you guys doing? I'm Draw Juice, aka Chris Petracchi, and it's great to be here. My team just in my ear said everything looks good. That's a go. And I'm feeling pretty confident about the technical side of all this. And I'm looking here, I see Esquilator. Esquilator, how you doing, Esquilator? Mimika. Mimika, teach me some Greek words, please. Okay, put it in the chat. Like theta, alpha, omega, paraclete. Michael's here. Wow. All right. We're just getting together. We're getting into the flow here. I'm trying to flow with the over the waves, over the airwaves. Ace, hey. Nick's got the little wrench by his name. That must mean he's kind of a tech guy. I bet you if he worked for one of those tech companies, he would get promoted and he would rise to the top for sure. Esquilator, where are you from? I need to know. Ace, where are you from? Don't all talk at once. Hey, I'm so glad to be here. Glad you're here. I'm grateful for everything, for the world, for art especially, and for you guys being here. And I'm gonna switch my camera over to this lovely angle. Look at that angle, it's powerful. I told you this is a powerful time with Draw Juice. It just can't be stopped. And I like it. It's looking good. It's looking sassy. I don't have a quote today. I'm just gonna quote myself because I've got a lot of things pent up need to come out. Let's check the chat. I need to know where you guys are from. I've been watching the cryptocurrency market lately, and it's just it's a wild ride. You guys know about crypto? It's it's gonna remake the the current financial structure, whatever that we have. I think it's gonna do something to it. It's gonna kind of revolutionize it. But so I'm thinking tonight we're gonna do a critique, of course, and then we're going to go over how to draw eyes, do some eye stuff. Okay, last time we did the glabella. Remember that? That was so powerful. And there it is. Remember that? This kind of drawing right here, the glabella. And Ace says he's from India, and David Cox is from Cincinnati, Ohio. Let's hear it for David Cox. Let's hear it for Ace from India. David, welcome. I got your drawing. You're only allowed one drawing. Tisk tisk. You put in more than one. Breaking the rules already. Anyway, let me know if I think I have one here, things in here. But tell me if I'm right or not. Okay, Nick's from Fremont. What a place. Ace says, ah, yes. Can never draw two of them. Oh, that's right. Yes. Okay, so guys, I went live yesterday. I've been going live on Tuesdays doing figure drawing. So if you're interested in that, just pop on by. I don't have a set time. It's sometime between 2 and 4, but I'm going to try and firm that up. And come and visit me. Talk to me. We had a good time just hanging out, drawing. So let me know if you can hear me good and see everything well. I think I'm gonna I was watching a documentary on a musical. Welcome to the no, not that. Let me see here. Okay. I think I'm ready. Let us get going. So I wanted to talk a little bit about Charles Bargue. Now, Charles Bargue was a mid-1800s, he was around 1826. He was an influential artist and lithographer, and he came up with a great drawing course that people use today. And it's of the figure of the head. He uses the famous Charles Bargue plates. So he made these lithographs. They're called plates. Anyway, an amazing resource, an amazing way of teaching. And he takes things from very flat and 2D, putting things in kind of an envelope. What I mean is when, you block in, you do a straight line block in, and then you separate your darks from your lights, very 2D and flat. And then you expand the value range. And so it's just some great stuff. People study from that. It's famous all over the world. And so we're going to talk about eyes today. And these are some drawings from the course. And what I kind of did was I just sort of memorized these. I thought, whenever I get a bug, to study something, I will find like Bridgman or something, a book on Bridgman, or some anatomy books like Artistic Anatomy by Paul Richer, and then I will just dive into it, and then I'll memorize stuff, because once I've got the muscle memory and the memorization, then it's not really a problem anymore, and it's on command, more or less. It's still a work in progress, but since I worked in the industry, in the animation industry, in the game industry as a concept artist, you have to, time is of the essence. You have to draw fast, especially in animation and in production for games or film as a concept artist. So eyes from all positions, right? Neutral, side, looking up, down, 3/4, and just, eyes are a little bit complex, but once you understand the basic parts, they're not. So let's kind of jump in. So I kind of took these positions, these, and I just drew them and memorized them. So you have like side, 3/4, right? And then you have looking down from the side, looking up from the front. So you have the extreme camera angles. And if there's just a few lines that are really, I wanted to point out, like this here, right? There's bone right here. There's the top or the superior crest of the orbital bone. And then this is the inferior one where the eyelid and the skin of the eyelid will kind of cause this crease right here. And you'll either see it more or less on people. Some people, you don't see this at all. On Asians, you don't really see this lid right here. They have more of a fuller upper lid. And then you have that bone right there. So these are like bony landmarks. These are things that are kind of always there, more or less. The angle the distance from the nose, the angle that it sits inside the, the bone structure. And so I found these helpful, especially like the tear duct, like this shape here. I kind of just memorized that shape for the tear duct. And then how that upper lip fits into the tear duct. And so it's pretty amazing how when you're looking at this angle, you see the underside, right? The underplane, and then it goes right into the lacrima, which is like the tear duct, or where the eyes water up, right? And so you can kind of really get to building this thing. And then once you make sense of it and you do it a few times, it becomes easier. I remember struggling with this every time I drew something when I was a student or I went to figure drawing. When it got to the eyes, I didn't have a set thing that I needed to do. And so I would just peer, I would squint, and I would try to look into the model's eyes and just struggle over it. But when I realized it's a ball with two flaps of skin wrapped around and then a structure housing it, then I didn't struggle as much anymore, and it got better and better. So let's jump into maybe doing some drawings here. So I've got some trusty reference. We'll take this out. You guys with me? I'm gonna check that chat. Checking the chat. Okay, cool. Ace says, what projects did you work on in the game industry? I worked on the Lord of the Rings, the Two Towers game. I worked on The Godfather. I was a lead concept artist. I was a lead character designer on The Godfather. And wow, that was so fun. It was like awesome times. Good times. I worked on The Sims and James Bond and some of this stuff like that. And so really cool. I'm gonna try and see if I can do this. And that's an interesting story because I was working as an environment background concept artist, and so I didn't really want to do that. And so in between my backgrounds that I was drawing on The Godfather, drawing scenes of New York and stuff, subways, I was drawing these thugs, like mafia thugs. And the art director came around. I was sort of painting him on Photoshop, and he came around and he passed by, but then he stopped and came back in and he said, do you want to be a character designer? And I said, absolutely. I was like, oh my God. And so he said, okay, well, you're going to start doing that. Can you believe that? It was just because I promoted myself a little bit, I just did the thing I wanted to do on the side, right? I wasn't interfering with my environment work. And the art director noticed what I was doing, and they didn't have anybody at that time. That was something like 2004, 5, 6, 7, something like that. And it was still new, like game artist concept stuff was all new, still new. And so they didn't have a lot of people doing that. And so I was able to get a start doing that. Oh, cool. David got the iPad. I hope he didn't get the Pro, because if he did, I'll be quite jealous. But good for you. That's really cool. Really cool. All right, so I'm going to try and jump in here and talk about like the front of the eye. Let's check it out. So look what I see. Let's break this down. Is this, right? you got to break this structure down into bite-sized chunks, and a lot of times straight line, you know, boxy, trapezoid type shapes work really good. Okay, so that's kind of, you know, I can draw a center line through here, you know, to kind of give me a general place of the structure of the eye socket and where the eyes are going to be. That's good stuff. I'm going to turn this music down a little bit. Okay. All this technology, man. One wrong move and you're screwed. Okay. Back with you guys here. And so I don't know why my computer is just so darn slow and goofy. I updated my OS today, my operating system, and that was slightly nightmarish, but I'm here. So, you know, everything's okay. Okay, that's great. So let's look at this front. So, you know, if I draw my T there, my typical standard lay-in, when I draw a head, you know, that cross or that letter T. And then I have this, going from general to specific. And then I'm gonna build that eye socket and build the place for the nose, right? So last time we talked about the glabella, and that's typically where I start. And then we've got kind of a rhythm here for where the nose cuts through. Okay. And we can kind of go this way as well, because you can kind of see the straight line here, but then we have kind of a curve for where the glabella is, a superciliary arch, and then the eyebrows themselves, which kind of can curve up, right? And so that's a nice rhythm to draw, that C curve, and just follow that. So I'm looking for things to build on, you know. And there's different kinds of eyebrows, of course. And then I'll just place the eyes, right? They're basically a ball, an eyeball. Okay. Very good. And then I'm going to go a little bit further. So that was my light sketch. You want to use a light touch, maybe using a H pencil or an HB, you know, or, you know, a B. And then I'm going to break up the planes in here to kind of something like that. Let me just take this a little bit further out like that. I want everything to fit nicely. So we got this, we got this, we got this. So you're going to have, you know, 1, 2, 3 planes. Okay? And there's going to be one here too. Okay, so you got 1, 2, 3 on this side. Let me back out of that. Okay. Okay, cool. And then we're going to add the eyelids. And that's the part that used to get me. I mean, I never used to build stuff like this. I just used to kind of like draw an eye and just go, oh, every time it was, you know, it's a different person. So I would, you know, I didn't have a concept that I could go to. I was just copying things the way I thought they should be and not really looking, you know. And so it was a struggle. So basically, I'll kind of, you know, put on that top lid and then carry that over like that. Everything's from one side to another. Okay, and then I'll take that and split that, not split it, but really kind of divide it into 3 planes. Notice the theme of 3. And so you get that lid, you get the structure, you know. And I like that. So now I've got these 3 planes on the top, right? So you have the front, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, there's that one, right? And so we're moving right along here. And it's easy to correct mistakes when you're doing it like this, because things tend to be, you know, they're more clear, they're more straight line. So you can see the relationships. There's these vertices, right? Like, so it's like you're checking your structure, your architecture, whether it's valid or not, you know? So if I drew my upper lid like this, right, and I had 3 planes on that upper lid, if I drew to connect them like that, that's not valid architecture, right? Because these need to be connected. So that makes more sense. That's what I mean by valid architecture. Okay, and then we're going to put the lower lids in. You know, so we've got the tear duct, and then we've got the lower lid, and I'm going to use 2 lines for that. Right, on one side I'll just show you, right, the linear approach, and then on the other side I'll show you kind of the rhythmic approach, just like that. And so you want to have this kind of asymmetry from here to here, like that. You don't want it to be this with perfect symmetry, right? You want it to have an asymmetrical relationship between those, the top and bottom arc of the lids. Okay. And you know, you can put in that lower lid, just kind of a shadow there. That usually looks pretty good. Okay. And then the eyes can go, I'm going to leave like a white space right here. Like, I don't want to draw the eyelids right down to there. I need some space because you're going to see the top plane of the lower lid, right? And that's usually facing the light, so. Right, and then I'll kind of put these in with a gradation. I'm not going to do, you know, black. I'm going to kind of do dark at the top and middle at the bottom. Seems to me creates depth that way, and it's more mysterious, kind of. And the eyes are going to be, you know, in there. Let me see. It's going to be kind of cut off at the top. It'll be like this. You're not going to see the full eye. If you see the full eye, someone's really alert. Or if you see this, someone's really scared, right? You see a lot of the white of the eye around the iris. That's like a scared eye, okay? So you don't want to do that. A lot of the upper part of the iris is underneath and hidden under the upper lid, and then you see that lower part of the iris just touching the lower lid. Okay. Right? It doesn't take much to start making it look pretty cool, you know? And then, you know, that superior bone of the eye socket, remember we talked about that superior upper, and that bone that Bargue put in, it's something like this, you know? There's a border here, and it could be like that. And so that's good. I'm just going to darken in this a little bit here. And notice that there's this nice round area of the bone, right? It's left over on this side. It's almost like interweaves, you know, with the eyebrow itself. So the eyebrow is like this, and then that thing is like this. So it's kind of almost the same thing. And these things are related in that way. So look for relationships, look for ways that you can touch things together, okay? And try to draw those things connected. Okay, so let's go to a side view. Let's take all that. Put it up here. Let's go to maybe, let's go to a side view. So if we look at the side view, we're going to see a few things. We're going to see that there is some space between the nose and that front plane of the eye. We're also going to notice it's not vertical. It's at an angle, okay? So most people, beginners, they'll draw the nose and they'll put the eye right there. And that's wrong. You need some space for that. Okay. Okay. All right, so let's see here. We'll just draw kind of like a little nose. Okay, and so there's that angle right there, right? I want it to be a little bit further back. Again, I can just kind of block things in very, very simply. Like that. Let me draw that a little bit bigger. Let me check the chat. Hey, greetings from Brazil. What's happening? That's Shad King. What's happening? Alex World. What's time? It's time to wake up. Okay. So let's see here. All right, so we're gonna go and put the eyeball in there. And I kind of want to draw that the glabella here. Remember how the eye socket fits into it and comes around, and it creates that really kind of masculine look right there. There's that bulge there. Okay. And then the eyeball is set back inside. You know, it's being protected by this bone. So I want to draw it, you know, as if part of it's back behind there. Okay, cool. And now, you know, there's that upper eyelid. Okay, it's at an angle. Lower lid wrapping around. Right, so it's kind of like a awning, right? You have like an awning on a store, like a deli. It's protecting the eye, right? So you can think of it like an overhang, you know, on this thing. And then you're gonna see, let me see. It's gonna have some thickness, right? So you're gonna see that under part right there. It's gonna be dark because that's that lid, upper lid wrapping around, right? So it has dimension. Just like this thing here. Okay. And then the lower lid, I'm going to take this texture off here. Just clarify this a little bit. So this is wrapping around. Connect it. Then that lower lid is there. Right. Okay. Then we have that, you know, and so we've got, you know, a couple of these planes, right? Maybe I'll just kind of modify that a little bit. So we've got these planes, we're just trying to be consistent with everything, you know. connect everything, make sure everything's groovy. You might see a little bit of the tear duct poking out here, and you'll see this little hook thing. I don't know what the technical name for that is, but it's part of that glabella structure. Make sure the glabella overlaps the eye socket. And then we have the eyelid over this. Okay, and that might go right to the edge of the contour of the face, you know. But the eye, definitely you should have some space here. Oh yeah. You know, you guys should learn this and then teach it to somebody. And that's going to make you learn it a lot faster, because you're going to have to talk about it, and you're going to have to draw it, and you're going to have to know what the hell you're talking about. Right? Okay. So for the, I'm just going to put this like that. For the eyelash, I'm just going to make a nice little shape like that. Kind of just a little thing like this. Just keep it like a shape, and then make it thick right here, because that's going to be the lower border of the upper lid, that lower plane, and it's going to be in shadow. So it's just kind of a nice tapered shape. And then, you know, I usually just draw something like that. Now if you want to, you can draw a few more, but I wouldn't do too many. And I don't do really anything on the bottom one. If it's a real close up, I will, but you know, otherwise I won't. And then you've got the eyeball itself. Sitting in there. That nose is kind of goofy. And then you can have, you know, that lower lid, but you could have like kind of another excess skin there, depending upon the age of the person. Right? So you can make someone a little bit, you know, fatter or older just by adding that extra kind of bag right there, you know. Okay. And then again, you can put that kind of a shadow there. And that always works. Kind of good. And then think about where the light source is. If the light source is in front, then this part of the lid will be in shadow, and this part of that lateral bone of the eye socket will be in shadow too. You know, so just kind of think about how the form, that's why the planes are cool, because it can tell me where to put the shading, you know. And I don't necessarily need a model. I can make things up just based on that, you know. Okay, so let's do a 3/4 view. Ooh. Okay, let's see. EAS says, how would you estimate how that would take if you're a noob? What? How would you estimate how that would take if you're a noob? I'm not sure what you mean. I know what noob means. You mean how long it would take? Anyway, maybe you can ask the question again, a little more specific. Would you see that much of the eyebrow? Yeah, you might not. You know, it's interesting. You know, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you kind of, you see the eye here. You know, and I look for triangles, like, okay, here's the eyeball thing. And I'll just do like, you know, that whole eye thing is like a triangle. And then there's a triangle here, right? For the upper and lower lid. And then there's the eyebrow, and that can be like a triangle too. It can fit into a triangular envelope. And so you've got all these, you know, sort of triangular things, right? So then I can put, you know, a triangle for that upper lid. There's a triangle. Lower lid, triangle. Right? And you get there rather quickly, right? And, right? Does that make sense? So look for the triangles and look for the simple shapes. You know, again, like this whole thing, I'm trying to see it like a triangle in my blocking of it. You know, maybe that can work. And then within that is another triangle where the eye is. You know, there's a triangle, and there's a triangle. So you have triangles within triangles kind of thing. I don't know where the next one would be, but it's kind of like, you know, the nose is kind of a triangle. Like it fits, it's sort of triangular like, you know, and then you have a cheek that's rolling away. That's a triangle. Lower plane of the nose, that can be like a triangle and stuff. So you start to see these relationships, you know, the wing of the nose, that could be triangular like, and so on and so forth, you know. So try that, play that game, see if you can make a nose out of triangles or circles or squares or combinations of that stuff. And that's pretty fun. Similar to a sailboat. Yeah. Okay, so let's do, that's a good one, David. I like that. Creating those parallels. All right, so let's think about, we're going to take our idea here of that first kind of shape that we made. It was kind of like this weird, I don't know what it was. It was like this, that thing. Okay, what's the name of that? Someone please tell me. So we're going to take that and we're going to make it, 3/4. So we're going to try and put some dimension into it. And we have to figure out, like, how to translate this side right here. It's not going to go like that anymore. It's going to be something like here, it's going to have a bump to it. Okay, and then what I usually do is I build that nose, right? So we've got a center line here. Center line was here. Now it's moved off towards the right. And I'm going to build that nose. Oh, yes. Keystone, right? Glabella, all that stuff that we studied last time. That helps me build this thing. Okay, so that's going to be, my nose is going to intrude. I think I want to make this thing a little bit longer. So 3/4, it's going to cover that far eye a little bit. Keep it simple. Okay, so there's kind of my little thing. And this thing could be like that. It can be like that. It can be like a more gentle kind of a thing. So it depends on the person. It depends on the angle. And I'm going to put these eyes in here, right? So they're going to fit inside this little wedge. But I can build the side plane, the inside plane of that superior border of the eye socket. And you don't see it on the far side. But it is going to come around. Okay, so I'll put my eye somewhere in there. Maybe that's too far. And then you're going to see a portion of the eye on the far side, but it's covered by the nose. And you want to just line these things up. Draw the whole thing. Okay. Now this plane might go this way, it might go that way. That's the side plane of the nose. Okay, and then you have the planes of the eye socket. Right, 1, 2, 3. And this glabella thing is doing its thing. I'm gonna go with the dark now. Okay, and then let's do kind of where the eye is going to be. So we're going to, we can take that, I'm going to take the texture off. We can make it really straight lined at first. make sure there's that little triangle shape is that overlap to your duct. And then it has a thickness, right? So we're just gonna sort of echo that first move. And make it really kind of plainer, you know. And then the lower lid. Ooh. On the other side. So we've got a more accelerated curve. So on the front side, we have a curve kind of like this, you know. And on the far side, it's a little bit more accelerated, right? It's a little bit more exaggerated because of the foreshortening. So we've got this. And we're only going to see maybe one plane. And we've got that triangle that shows the overlap. Little eyelash right there. And then we're only going to see a little bit of the lower lid. And that's going to have a thickness because it's wrapping around. So everything's connected, everything's kind of solid looking. And there's that weird hook thing. Okay, so that's the 3/4 kind of deal. Yeah. I kind of like this. You can flare this out just a little bit too. They kind of overlap the glabella a little bit and give it a tone. And the eyebrow kind of has two parts. You can think of it like this rectangle here, or this parallelogram, and then this triangle piece. So that could be helpful for you. All right. So that is a 3/4 view. Let's get into, man, we're at 8 o'clock already. Woo. Okay, any questions? Elongated hexagon. Oh, a hexagon, okay. That's a hexagon, folks. According to Sampico and Esquilator. A trapezius. Not a trapezius, no. Definitely not. I know that one. Hexagon means it's got 6 sides, so that makes sense. Right? Okay. Gotta put my little shadow there. All right, any questions? Needs to practice to access third results. Yeah, remember that that upper lid is kind of like a twisted piece of paper. Imagine a twisted piece of paper, right? You have kind of this side that's a top side and a bottom side, or right? So you have the top side here and the bottom side there, which gets the shadow. So you can, you can pull that over the eyeball, and you can do it, kind of on this side too. So just practice that move like a twisted piece of paper. Practice hooking that up, seeing if you can draw it, and how would that look? How would that twisted piece of paper look, and where would you put the shadow? And that's helpful for lips, eyelids, ribs, right? The ribs are like that too because they wrap around the rib cage. And so practice that move like that. Okay, so let's see who's up first. Esquilitor. All right. What? All right, Esquilitor. What's happening? A says, will the bone thing beneath the eyebrow get highlights as well? The bone thing beneath the eyebrow. Yeah, the bone thing will get highlights, if I understand you. Should we make the shadows wrap around it? Yes, make the shadows wrap around, make your lines wrap around. Draw as if you're wrapping around things, because it promotes 3D. Okay, cool. Let's see. This is nice. I like this. I love this, the lighting on this, what you've done. Let me just kind of, your name is like really loud here. Okay, I want to keep it there, but it's distracting a little bit. Okay, now everything looks good. The head and neck connection looks good. The parts look good. I love it. Looking great. Definitely you could push your values. So now that you've got everything there, let's just push through here. No, I don't want this. What's going on here? And let's see if we can just keep what you did and then squint down. And when I squint down, I get a lot more depth in here. If you can push your value range, you're going to bring drama into any art you do. Landscapes, portraits, abstracts, if you have a wider value range. Now, if you don't want that, you can have a nice, light, positive feeling that would be a limited value range or a middle key. But we're going to go with the pump up, dramatic approach. And kind of go, when I squint down, I see dark in the eye sockets. Also, you can get more form out of it. The bridge of the nose looks great, but I want to have like a core shadow on it. And then the glabella, that's a down-facing plane that explains that shadow there. And then there's this. Did a nice job with the hair connecting to the scalp. But there's 3 planes on that forehead. And part of this, what I'm putting in here, shows that front plane. I'm just gently kind of bringing things, I'm calibrating, adjusting. Those lips, when I squint down, they're kind of the same value as this cheek area, which is slightly lighter than the shadows in the eye socket, you know. Comes down here, and then these guys are dark-ish overall. They're darker than the skin around it a little bit. So when I change that, then I got to change everything else around it. That so often happens in drawings, that you know, you adjust one thing and it kind of throws the balance off, and so you have to go through and recalibrate everything according to that. This looks good out here. A little shadow on that chin box. That front plane is going away from the light, so you can put a little bit more in there. Study your planes of the face and recognize the planes that you see or can't see, but you know are there. Depending on the lighting, you can see like a nice chin box right there. Pretty obvious. Right, there's a front plane. And so you can construct that. You can see it, you can put it in there. But you kind of can't draw what you don't know or can't see. And then notice that lip, isn't that interesting? It's got like a, the shadow is on the back side. Where we would think there would be skin right there of the muzzle of the mouth, the upper lip. It actually, the lip curls back and it casts a little shadow here. He's got a top plane here. That top plane is kind of in shadow. The lighting in this is really a little confusing, right? It's complex. And then if we really blow this out, right here, the camera right, there is a very intense light. Right there. So it's kind of like a rim light, kind of like a kicker. And it's sort of lighting up this side plane of the nose as well. And that side plane right there of the ala, or the wing of the nose. It's a little bit too dark right there. Yeah, I don't even know where the light's coming from in this thing. It's mostly kind of side lit, you know. won't do too many details here, but did a nice job with those eyes. See how he's just got like a lash that's like that. It's just a little tapered triangular shape. See that? Right there. It's not really individual lashes too much. Oops. And then he does have an upper lid. Just put it in a little bit. You can see it all the way through. And you can see that lid over here too. It just catches the light right there. And if you break down the lid in terms of those three planes, then that can explain what catches the light. And then you can see that bone that's there. Right, so you see that bone, right? Just like in the Bargue plate. And it's compressing, coming up against the upper lid right there. There's that compression. Let's see, where's that? The Bargue plate thing again. Kind of talking about, you know, this line here is like this in here. You know, so from different angles. Okay, so start to kind of look for those things and then explain them to the viewer in your drawing. Where am I? So yeah, it's looking good. It's pretty neat. I like what you did. And you can just push your values a little bit more. Then I'd have to push this a little bit. And then just keep going. Anyway, just push it a little bit more and see, you know, see if you can. I think you did a great job. Looks really cool. Just keep your values in check. Stuff. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Let's see. Let's do David. Okay. This looks beautiful. Very nice. Yeah. I love the way you put that charcoal on there and how it's interacting with the paper. You've got a nice value expression, value range from dark to light, and it just looks really nice. Yeah. Not too much detail, right? You're just squinting and looking here and then drawing that. Not drawing irises and a bunch of eyelashes and things that you think should be there. And so you held back. That was very, very good. It's hard to do. It shows some skills. I don't know why my computer is doing that. It's just so slow. Maybe I just got too much stuff going on. I can turn that off. Okay. So I'm just thinking, you know, just a little crit, a little area is the nose, glabella, eye relationship. Like her nose does kind of come down, you know, but it has a little more angle, I think, that you could put in there. You know, like it looks a little flat. And so you could either go in more and out, but then you'd have to fix this part too. And that would start to affect all this. So, you know, you could kind of sneak in. Anyway, that would be a real hard fix for this, but that would be one thing I think that you missed a little bit was that you could push that nose a little bit more from flat to giving it a little dimension, you know. But I think aside from that, it looks really solid. Everything looks connected well. And that's the only thing that bugged me was this poor little eye was just didn't have enough room to live. You know, if you can cheat it a little bit, just push in just a little bit, that kind of helps it. Just play with it just a little bit. But yeah, that's cool. I like it. What's this? And then maybe, you know, you kind of this stuff over here could give us a hint of that, maybe. It's a little bit awkward, but you know, it explains what that is a little bit. And then make it fade away, you know. I think that would be good. I think you did a nice job. Just wondering if I put some dark there next to that neck, then it would sort of round out and complete that just a little bit, because it was getting a little fadey, you know, in this area. It was kind of just could use a little bit more explanation. But not too much, right? Because you don't want to attract attention to it. But I like the idea. I like what you were going for. You know, loose, not too much attention. But then I think just explaining that helps it. Now, if it didn't help it, leave it out, right? But if it does help it, then it's okay to leave it in, you know. So that's cool. Just flip it a little bit. Yeah. Now here's another one with that kicker, that bounce light, that, you know, it's like hard lighting, difficult lighting to deal with. And I think you did good with it. I'm just looking. Yeah. I like it. I want to see another one next week. Yeah, David. You bet. Okay, we got one more. Now this is Andre, and he is putting in this lovely lady. He's drawn her 3 times now. Who is this lovely lady? This mystery woman. It's getting better. It is getting better, Andre. Oh, that hair looks much better than before. Bravo, good job. You've kind of got a nice value shape going instead of stringy hair like last week. Okay, so you're kind of you got the tilt, right? You got that angle, the gesture of the head. That's fabulous. That's an improvement over last time. Okay, let me just get my layers together. So that, right, the gesture, the connection to the shoulders, center line, then finding the correct center line and building out from there. Okay, you're doing all that good. Now the next level is rendering the skin and also the features. So you've got kind of like these nice parts happening and they look lovely, but they're kind of these parts on their own that aren't connected. They don't look integrated, and you've got a line around. They've got a line around everything, right? Everything has a heavy line around it. You kind of want to avoid that. And that comes because you don't understand the planes of the face and the rhythms. And so you're just, all you know really that you can draw then is just the features floating there. Because that's all that you know right now, right? Is details. Details are not going to get you, what you want. They're going to get you a drawing that doesn't look natural. Okay, it doesn't look believable because of that problem, right? We don't see a good connection between the glabella, forehead, eye sockets, the plane of the nose, then these heavy lines right here. She does have a line right there, a laugh line, but we don't want to see that too much, like just a thin single dimensional line like that doesn't really connect well or go anywhere. And so we just notice this dark thing on the face. Okay, and then this is a little bit unclear what's happening here. So you want your lines to describe planes and form. So you're kind of not getting the form. And then where you're trying to get form is in your shading. And the shading is more like just shading for the sake of it. And it's kind of out of value. And so it looks dirty. And this is one of the 2 main problems that students run into, is dirty, muddy looking drawings. And instead of describing form, it looks like the person has smudges on their face. So, because things are out of value, the lights are too dark, and maybe the darks are too light. But I think it's your darks are too dark. And so that you've got a value problem and you've got a structure problem. Okay. But it's improved in terms of the hair and your assessment of the angle and the tilt of the head. Got that big time. So you improved. So that's all we need to do is take these problems, right? There's 5 or 6 or 7 problems, and just take one of them and improve on it. Okay? And you did. You improved on the gesture and the block in. That block in, the way you assessed everything. And getting the center line. The center line. Awesome. You got to give yourself a cookie for that, or something rewarding, right? Because this is not easy. And so, but you did improve, and the hair, you improved. Good. Now you want to keep those gains, right? Every time you do a block in, approach it like that slowly. And then you got to study values and planes of the head. So from now until next week, do some planes of the head. And do some, just do planes of the head from the front, 3/4, side, and do it a dozen times for each one. That's really hard, I know, but just do it, as many times as you can. You need to get a hold of a plane head, and I have that in my course. I've got all that stuff in my course. So I think we're going to wrap up here, everybody. And so just let me, show that. Because everything's there. And I'm just gonna pull that up a second. Yeah, so over here at Draw Juice, I've got a boot camp and a mentorship and a VIP, and I cover all this stuff in my course. So you don't have to struggle with it continually, making the same mistakes over and over. And that's at drawjuice.com. You can also join the Facebook group, Mastering the Art of the Portrait. And we've got 3,000 students, over 3,000 students in there. And that's a great place to, look at those hands by Mimika. Awesome. Woo, beautiful. Right? Everybody's practicing, everybody's helping, and people are excited and they're making progress. And I'm so proud of everybody in here working hard. We have challenges, and we had a hand drawing challenge just a couple weeks ago, 100 hands. People are still doing it. So you can follow me too on social media at Draw Juice for Instagram. So that's gonna be it, my people. I want to say, I hope you like my, get up. I need to be a little more mysterious. Right? So where you guys at? Yeah, Skeletor, you're welcome. Ace, you're welcome. You're welcome, David. You're welcome, Amika. It's so great you guys are here hanging out with me. I'm gonna eat dinner because I'm hungry. And I sure had a good time. And I hope you learned something about the eyes and how to block them in, because they don't have to be that hard. But if you go through a structure and a procedure, it's like magic. So, you can look up Bargue, Charles Bargue. You can get my course. You can do all kinds of stuff, and you guys are going to improve. You are approved. I approve of you guys. Big time. I'm over here. I approve of you guys. Okay. We'll see you next Tuesday or next Wednesday night. Okay. So I'm going live Wednesday night for figure drawing. And that's more casual, just drawing, hanging out, chatting. All right, so I'm gonna shut it down. Peace and love. Be good to each other. Be kind and charitable. Stay safe, because it's a crazy time out there. All right, from all around the world, from me to you, get the juice. I'm Draw Juice. And